Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome to the PHYSIOMission Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jared Cooper. This podcast is dedicated to helping young, aspiring physical therapists navigate the muddy waters of what has now become our profession. I want to help you maximize your impact, your income, and your freedom. Throughout this podcast, I'll be interviewing mentors, clinical gurus, and successful business owners who have paved the way and shown us how it's done. Along the way, I'll also be sharing with you some secrets to my own success and how I started a private practice from scratch, developed an amazing team, and built and grew it to a 7-figure business. So without further ado, let our mission begin. What's up, physios, and welcome to the PHYSIOMission Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jared Cooper, and I wanted to give you a quick introduction to what the podcast is all about. We don't have a roadmap as physical therapists, and we have a ton of struggles. We have struggles, and we have really no clear solutions to those struggles. So start from the beginning, right? You have to struggle to get into PT school. You have to struggle to stay in a PT school. Once you graduate from physical therapy school, you've got $100,000 to $200,000 in debt. Your first job out. I remember when I first heard what my salary was going to be, my first year as a physical therapist, which was $72,000. I was like upset because how in the heck was I going to pay off my student loans? In 30 years, that's how long, it would take at $72,000 a year, paying it off bit by bit. I had to take care of my family. I had to take care of my wife and my kid. I had to think about where I was going to live. And there were so many unanswered questions that we have as physical therapists. It's very difficult to know what to do. And a lot of you, especially you new grads, are in that place right now where you're trying to figure out, number one, how are you really going to make a living as a physical therapist? How are you going to make money, enough money to support your family, support yourself, pay off your student loans? Where are you going to get mentorship from? Should you do a residency? Should you do a fellowship? Should you work for a big company? Should you do home health? Should you open up a cash-based practice? And there are all these questions and so much information coming at you from so many different places, it's almost impossible to figure out what you should do. And so the function of this podcast, the PHYSIOMission Podcast, is to help you to answer some of those questions. Because I believe as physical therapists, we feel inside of ourselves that we have a bit of a gift, and we have a gift where we feel like we want to help people, and it's our calling, it's our mission, right? It's just something that we feel that we need to do, that we know that we're good at, and that we can give back to the world by getting into this profession. And once we get into this profession, we know what we want to do. We want impact. We want to make an impact on the world. We want to change people's lives for the better. And we want income. We want impact and income. And if we were to add one more thing, we want freedom. Impact, income, and freedom is what we are after. And yet the system is set up to provide us with none of those things. We see if you work for like a practice, you're seeing 3-4 patients an hour, and you don't have the time, we're being bogged down by insurance regulations and doing all this documentation to support everything, and it takes forever. So our impact goes down. And then you work for a practice, you get paid $70,000, $80,000 a year, which isn't enough to pay back your student loans. So you got income problems, and you got to work your ass off in the clinic and then go home and do notes. So you got no freedom. And so the physical therapy business as a whole is not set up to provide us with any of the things we actually want. And so the PHYSIOMission Podcast is all about helping you to navigate that struggle, helping you to navigate the decision-making process. Where should you work? What should you do? What kind of salary should you ask for? Should you open up a cash-based practice? How do you do it? How do you open up a hybrid-based practice? How do you market? How do you talk to doctors? How do you brand? How do you make those decisions? That's what this podcast is dedicated to. And so if you can learn or get clarity on for yourself what it is that you should be doing, where you should be going, and how you should be maximizing the 3 goals that you have, more income, better impact, and freedom, then this podcast is successful. So go ahead and dig in. The first episode is an interview with the man himself, Greg Todd, the gentleman who created SSPT Live, who's creating a movement and helping people to open up their own private practice, whether it's cash or hybrid, and inspiring people. Hugely successful in our industry, very inspiring, has done a lot for a lot of physical therapists. You're going to absolutely love the first episode. Then we got Aaron LeBauer, the cash-based PT guru. We got Paul Goff, who, if you don't know him, he essentially is a business genius when it comes to physical therapy. We got Jerry Durham, who's going to be talking about the patient experience. Christine Walker, who's going to be talking about, how to build a physical therapy website that converts. So we got a lot of amazing guests. I'm going to be doing some solo episodes, giving you guys my thoughts and what works in my practice. I was able to, right out of school, basically. I worked for one of those big car wash physical therapy practices for a little while, about 4 to 6 months, before I was like, can't do this anymore, and open up my own practice. And we've scaled that practice into a 7-figure practice. And we've been, over the past 7 years, we have been consistently successful. And so I'm going to be sharing with you what works for me, what works in my practice, how I run my practice. It's a hybrid-based model. We got a lot of cash pay people, but we got some insurance and some Medicare. And we've got great doctor relationships, a lot of good reviews, and an amazing team. And I'm going to be sharing with you guys how and what I do in my practice to be successful. And hopefully by hearing from different mentors and gurus in different areas, you will get tremendous value out of this podcast. So I'm super excited to launch this. It's been a long time coming. I hope you enjoy the PHYSIOMission Podcast.